the first question is, I think we should probably talk about some royalties here because you got like a young Asian kid named David with long highlighted hair that learns more about his cultural identity, grows up, shaves his head. I mean, he didn't do the mustache, but maybe that was just cut in editing. So
Yeah, I gotta hold on. I gotta see that picture again. That I thought that was Ethan for. I thought that was from our movie for a second.
hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch Our Pass. Today I'm joined by Anthony Shim, the writer, director, and star of Riceboy Sleeps, which comes to digital on May 2nd, 2023. I'm going to talk to him right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. It helps me out a lot. Thank you. So thanks so much for joining me. This is Anthony Shim, the writer, director, and star of Riceboy Sleeps, which is coming to digital on May 2nd, 2023. It is a wonderful, slow burn, coming-of-age story that deals with cultural identity, that deals with the past, that deals with legacy. It is a really fantastic film. It's won a ton of awards internationally, and it's going to be available digitally on May 2nd. I definitely think you should check it out, and thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and you're joining from Seoul, so like this is an international interview. This might be the farthest interview I've had, so this is amazing.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's yeah. I think our time difference is pretty extreme. It's a bit early here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I've grown used to it. I've been doing. I've done work. I've done like 5 a.m. interviews, and those are tough.
I did one. One person wanted to do a 5 a.m. interview because that's when they like
Yeah.
got up for work, and I was like, I will do it. And it was a rough one, but yeah,
Yeah.
it builds character, I think.
Yeah. I'm here.
So the first question is, I think we should probably talk about some royalties here because you got like a young Asian kid named David with long highlighted hair that learns more about his cultural identity, grows up, shaves his head. I mean, he didn't do the mustache, but maybe that was just cut in editing. So
Yeah, I gotta hold on. I gotta see that picture again. That I thought that was Ethan for. I thought that was from our movie for a second. Wow, wow, that's you. That's
yeah, it is
you.
me. Yeah, a long
That's
time ago.
incredible. That is
Very different.
incredible. What year was that?
2001, I think. 2000, somewhere in
Okay,
there.
yeah, that's right in the same timeline as our phone.
So I don't know how you learned so much about my life, but I am honored that you decided to put it on screen for all to see.
I've been studying you from afar for a long time.
Wow.
Uh, well, I mean, I think I mean, that's amazing. It was, so much of it is inspired and based on my own personal experiences, and those around me. Um, and yeah, no, I try to just be as personal and honest as I could, and really just, as they say, just write what you know.
Yeah.
And I figured, the more specific I could be and the most personal I could be would be what allows me to have a story and a film um, that has its own originality. In a time where there's so many stories about the Asian um, immigrant experience. So I wanted to just be able to put my own, put my hat in the ring and just go, here's my version of that.
Yeah, definitely. I was wondering like if this was a personal story because it felt very personal. It felt very kind of like, tied to you and tied to who it was. And I wasn't sure if that was just you maybe writing about other experiences or if it's something that you kind of like wanted to translate onto film and just change a few things so that it could be, made for movies. So
Well, the goal wasn't ever to make a biopic. It was the idea was that I would start from a personal place, start from experiences, scenes, ideas for characters from me, just work off of my own life and my own experiences, and then build from there. And so, while the root of this film is from a very real and personal place, it is a fictional film at the end of the day.
mhm.
And once we brought the actors on board, because the story and the characters, um, the actors connected to it so much that it really did feel like they took those characters and made it so much their own that by the time we started filming, it really did feel like, oh, this is just as much, you know, this individual's story and film as it is my own. Um, but but yeah, yeah, yes, I did wear glasses. I did have those experiences at school.
And
I did shift to blue contact lenses. You know, all of those things are true. Um, but the biggest thing, I think a lot of people when they hear that it's a very personal story, a lot of people get worried and go like, "Is your mother okay? Is she still with us?"
uh,
Um, and that's the thing that a lot of people have asked me. And my mother is healthy and alive and well. That part was fictionalized.
it would be a less dramatic movie if everyone ended up happy and alive and well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
but I do love that you kind of put started from a personal place, because I thought especially the kind of David's growing up experience felt so real. Like, sometimes bullying in movies can be done and it feels, I don't know, for the screen, or it feels like inorganic, but this one felt like very kind of true to form. Like, it felt like something that I could totally see happening, the only Asian kid in this area experiencing, and it felt like very kind of organic, that how kids are. I mean, I think the kind of theme of the movie is kids are terrible, right? That's kind of what you were going for.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if no, I wouldn't say that the theme is kids are terrible. I think kids are kids. And you know, I never set out to make a film about racism or bullying or you know, um, the struggles of immigrant life. I mean, really, what I wanted to do was tell a really personal story about um, two people searching for a home and embracing their identity. Um, and within that journey, it just so happens that some of the challenges and the conflicts they face deal with racism and deal with various forms of abuse. Um, and it just so happens that like those are the experiences I had, and that's just where the story went. But it wasn't like it was never my intention to point a finger at certain people or communities or experiences and say this is good, this is bad. I didn't want it to ever feel like it was a judgmental um, point of view, but that it was just more of an observational approach to this story. Um, because at the end of the day, I feel like especially the stuff at the school, for example. David could have been. I mean, that boy could have just been, overweight or
Mhm.
had a stutter or was too tall or whatever. Like it could have been anything that was the reason for him being teased or an outcast. Um, but in this case, just so happens that the most obvious distinction about him was that he's Asian in a city in a neighborhood that's predominantly white. Um, so yeah, I definitely try not to promote this film as a film that is shining a light on racism of the 90s. No, it's a part of the film, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's the central theme or anything.
Yeah, definitely. That was completely a joke. But yeah, kids are
Okay.
kids. Another thing I love in this film that I don't think I see a lot in movies, especially about like immigrant story, you know, in the 90s, is the mom character was so kind of fierce. Like, she did not take anything at work. She did not, like, she called out the school. I think a lot of times when you have these immigrant stories, like, the Asian immigrants are very docile and very, like, appreciative. And in this one, the mom was like fighting for everything. Is that was your mom like that when you had similar-ish experiences? Is that where that character kind of came from?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this started too from a place of me having grown up, and I mean, I started as an actor, so I've been in this industry for 20 years, and in that time, I've been exposed to so many different projects and seen how few um, Asian, not even just Korean, but just Asian characters there are out there in film and television, and whenever there are, I always felt like for me, I didn't feel like there were many portrayals of um, Asian people, but particularly Asian women that I felt were authentic or honest to those that I had grown up knowing. Um, like you said, yeah, a lot of the portrayals of Asian women are docile and meek or you know uh, agreeable and um, and or it's the extreme opposite. It's the it's the Michelle Yeoh type characters and some of the more famous movies she's been in, and other roles where they're just like action heroes almost. They're superheroes.
Mhm.
And I thought, and they're great. Like those are amazing roles, but there's got to be something in between here. Like where are the really complex, nuanced, beautiful, flawed characters that we see so much of, portrayed by other great actors like Julianne Moore and Meryl Streep, like where are those for Asian women? And I set out to show portray um, an Asian female lead that had all, hopefully captured all of those nuances and flaws and imperfections that I have known to be so true and real in my life, those around me. So yes, my mother was like that to an extent. It's not exactly like her. It's inspired by her, but also so many other Korean immigrant women that I've known. Also, not even immigrant women, but just like my grandmothers, my aunts. Um, oh God, if for example, what happens in the factory, that's if someone was to put a person like that was to put a hand on my mom or my aunts or my grandma. Oh God, like that would be the minimum of what happens. It's and it's not like they're like extraordinary tough women. It's just I've just only ever known Korean women to, for the most part, to be really strong and not. I don't even think it's about being fierce. I think it's just about surviving.
Mhm.
That desperate need to survive and to provide a quality life for their children, and to be willing to do anything. And it's like when So Young fights for her son, it's not like she's doing it with this like she's not this like fierce tiger mom who is like invincible. You can see when she's standing up for herself and her child to the principal, her lips are quivering. Her back is firm and she's sitting up straight and looking him dead in the eyes, but her lips are still quivering because she
Mhm.
is petrified as much as she's, furious. Um, so that's what I want to show, that it's she, there is it's a multifaceted human being that is fighting to navigate her way through this new foreign territory.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of, the mother in this film, like, how did you find her? Like, it feels like are these actors that you had worked with before, just kind of in film, or did you like go out and look for new talent to come in to be like the mother and to portray young David and old David?
We weren't necessarily trying to find new talent. We were just trying to find the best actors, the best people for these roles. And it just so happened that two of the three leads, they'd never acted before.
Oh wow, that's
This was their
amazing.
first professional acting jobs. Um, and s- and it was tough. It took months of searching. And we auditioned a lot of people. Basically, if you were Korean, and fit that age group, chances are I have looked at your audition tape or your demo reel or something to the like. Um, and Yeah, it was just through like the boys. We had put out an ad in the Korean newspaper in Canada, just saying, no experience needed. We're looking for these boys who could speak Korean and English to this extent. Please just like send us your info, send us a video of yourself. And it was through that we found the two boys.
That's amazing.
Um, and then our lead, Seung-Yoon, she was introduced to me through our Korean casting director. Her background is in dance, and she had made this documentary a few years ago about dancers in Korea. And our casting director had seen her in that documentary, and then she thought, there's this woman. She's not an actor, but she's a dancer. But there's something about her that could be perfect for this role. And we came to meet her that way. And she, from her first audition, it was just so obvious that she was the perfect person for this role.
That's amazing. Those are both fantastic finds. I'm really glad that you kind of like found them and were able to kind of bring their talents out for this film. I know we have very limited time. I'm going to switch. I call it the lightning round. They're just very lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how your personal experiences map to things in the film. They might be, they might map very well in the background, but I try to keep them very answerable. But you can feel free not to answer any of them if you don't want to.
Okay.
First question is, do you have an American name? Is Anthony your a Western name? Is Anthony your like Western name?
It is, yeah. My Korean name is actually Myung-bo, but I was given the name Anthony by my grade school teacher exactly as it occurred in the movie.
That's sad, but also very kind of fitting for the time. So that makes perfect sense. If you could pick your name right now, what would you pick?
Myung-bo.
Myung-bo, okay. Not LeBron James.
No. No, that ship has sailed. No, I if I could redo it, I just keep my Korean name.
When was the last time that you had rice? I assume probably recently, but I don't know for sure.
The last time rice?
Like 5 minutes ago.
last night for dinner.
Perfect. What is your favorite Korean food?
My favorite Korean food. Oh man. I would say, something I really, really love is it's gejang. It's like a soy sauce based like crab. I guess it's raw. It's slightly fermented. It sounds awful actually when you describe it in English, but it's like really one of the most delicious things.
I mean, look, if you like it, I'm sure it'll be delicious. I will give it a try next time I'm at a Korean restaurant. I feel like everyone in the 90s knew Taekwondo. Do you know Taekwondo?
Me? No, I do not know. I intentionally resisted doing anything that was that fit the stereotype of an Asian boy. I refuse to do martial arts.
That makes sense. And the last question is in the film, the mom says that an Asian man can only cry 3 times. What are the 3 times that you have cried? Only 3 times.
Oh my God. It's so funny. I was told that in real life. I got married 2 days ago. And I cried at my own wedding.
That is a very acceptable time. That is a good time to cry.
And I got so teased by everyone. Because everybody'd seen the movie and they're like, "Oh man, this one's supposed to cry 3 times. You can't cry at your own wedding."
Well, now you have to pick one of those other times that you can't cry. You have to hold firm for those. I think your wedding is a perfectly acceptable time to cry.
Well, I will proudly admit that I have cried many more times than just 3. And I'm sure I will cry again in the future.
Well, it's your weakness is allowed. It is probably one of the reasons why this film is so great. The film is Riceboy Sleeps. It comes to digital on May 2nd, 2023. This is the writer, director, and star of the film, Anthony Shim. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
That was Anthony Shim, the writer, director, and star of Riceboy Sleeps, which comes to digital on May 2nd, 2023. It is a wonderful, slow burn, coming-of-age story that deals with legacy, that deals with the sins of the past, and also deals with cultural identity. It's a really fantastic film. It's won a ton of audience awards. I think you should definitely check it out. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.